Next up, we're off to New Zealand and a unique animal hospital. We travelled to Dunedin in the South Island to meet a team who've been fighting throughout the pandemic to save injured wildlife and the country's rare endangered penguins.
With a harbour stretching 20 kilometres, New Zealand's Otago Peninsula is home to some unusual locals. Such as the yellow-eyed penguin, the rarest penguin species in the world, with only 5,000 remaining in the wild. It's why Dr. Lisa and her team at the Dunedin Wildlife Hospital have been caring for injured and sick penguins throughout the pandemic.
No, this is not how this works. This is not how this works.
But due to the restrictions on travel into the country, the future of these efforts is in doubt.
We've only been running for just over 3 years now, so we exclusively care for native New Zealand wildlife. It's okay. So one of the patients that we see the most are Hoi Ho or yellow-eyed penguins. That's actually the inspiration for opening this hospital. Don't bite anyone. They are an endangered species here in New Zealand and have been in quite serious decline quite rapidly for the past, I'd say, 10, 12 years now. No, don't try that out. All that. Good. Come here, toddler. I've been working with these birds for about 13 years, so I have about 13 years of scars accumulating on my arm. No, no, no. Don't bite me either. No. People think penguins are all cute. They're not.
All these big wounds have healed.
They're quite vicious. They're quite aggressive. They want to bite you. They want to flip or bash you. They poop all over you. But we love them.
Oh no, she's going to run this way.
She is. No, go that way.
Yay, 4 down.
We got a penguin from Boulder Beach, which is one of the most extensively monitored breeding populations. A beautiful female, very important bird, and had taken on a shark this year. And in her 18 years, this is the first time she's actually been injured. And luckily, we were able to just do one surgery on her, cleaned up the wounds, and she is actually off to Penguin Place, back to rehab. So she'll spend a bit of time there and she'll molt her old feathers and then she'll get released back to the wild.
Yeah, you're going to Penguin Place. Hey, buddy.
Penguin Place is where these injured penguins are cared for until they're ready to be released back into the wild. It's wholly tourist funded.
Yeah, we've got 70 of these guys to get through at the moment.
The majority of our birds do come from the Dunedin Wildlife Hospital. They come in being sick, injured or starving. Disease is quite rife with these birds, unfortunately. The main one here on land being malaria, avian malaria, carried by mosquitoes. Our job here is to rehabilitate, put weight back on the birds. They usually come into us severely underweight.
There we go. I was just about to say that they're all behaving themselves today. That's not usual.
If Penguin Place wasn't here, I could almost guarantee that the population would be functionally extinct.
This is the best these birds ever look.
But the work being done to preserve these animals is now under threat.
The pandemic here has hit Penguin Place really hard, unfortunately. We are completely tourism funded, have been for the last 30 years. So we are finding it very, very difficult to feed these birds, to get medication for these birds, and to find the staff to put in the time needed, of course. In terms of our funding, we have enough to survive until June this year, which is really only months away. After that, we're not sure what we're going to do yet. We are hoping that the tourism operation starts again and we can start getting tourists back in New Zealand.
The pandemic has impacted conservation efforts across the peninsula.
So all penguin chicks are brown and fluffy when they hatch. Right, shall we see what you weigh, my sweet? What you got in the bag?
Scientist Hilton Ratz is monitoring the little blue penguins at Pukakura.
So this chick weighs 1 kilo exactly, 1,000 grams. So that's pretty good for its age.
They're the world's smallest penguins and are especially vulnerable to predators.
The tourists are really enabling our work for the little penguins. And we have literally no international visitors, which were the majority of visitors here. It's had a huge decline in income, and without income, what do we do?
The main attraction happens at night. That's when the little blues swim ashore.
The surface of the water is sort of disturbed and ripply and things, and all of a sudden that shows up on the edge of the beach, and they'll pop up and scurry across the beach. And then up the main access point, and that's when you get really close. It's amazing. It's a wonderful experience.
Back at the Penguin Hospital, it's been a tough day for Dr. Lisa and her colleagues.
We had an example of a case that actually didn't have a good outcome today, so everyone's feeling a little bit down. This little juvenile yellow-eyed penguin was brought to us yesterday. Feisty bird trying to bite us, so really has a will to live, and she came in and she was unable to stand. We can't release a bird like that. We would be releasing her to a cruel, slow sort of death by starvation. So it's a hard choice. We made a really tough decision to sort of euthanize her. Luckily, as far as yellow-eyed penguins go, it's not something that we actually have to do very often. Oh, you're right there, good. I definitely feel my job is worthwhile. I'm just going to cover you so you don't hurt yourself. When I see the difference we're making, especially to Hoi Ho, it's a species I'm so passionate about, and just being able to work with these birds and get them back into the wild, that's actually the best part of the job. Good girl.
So we take 1.2 off that, so we'll go 6, 7, 5, 5. 5, 5's perfect.
So today's a really special day for us here at Penguin Place. We have an 18-year-old female who came in 7 or so weeks ago from the Dunedin Wildlife Hospital. She's made a full recovery and is set to be released. She did have a really nasty wound across her tummy. That's completely healed, and her new feathers have come through, so she is waterproof, which means she can go out and find her own food. So she'll be set to be released today.
Too easy.
Which I'm looking forward to. It's always good. It only happens a few times a year, so to see them released fit and healthy is quite a good feeling for us. You do feel like all your hard work has paid off. We put a lot of time and effort into these chicks in particular. So seeing them going out, you do feel warm and fuzzy.